Hello, YouTube. It's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome to another Did I Just See That month, and another review. And this is the best movie I saw this year. It's not a Marvel movie this time. It's a first, because Marvel had a few hiccups this year. But this is the movie that dominated 2022. It was the biggest summer hit. It was a movie that they refused to just dump on streaming. It's going to be on streaming on December 22nd on Paramount Plus. It's Paramount's year. This was their year. And it was, because Paramount Plus had a lot of great content this year. It's a 2022 action drama, because there's a lot of drama in it. Directed by Joseph Kosinski. Yes, the same director that did Tron Legacy, and I love that movie. You know my stand on that. It's a sequel to a 1986 film, which I have not seen the first one, but I've seen clips, and I will watch the first one sometime in December. Written by Aaron Kruger, one of the writers of the Transformers sequels. And yet this is a much better script than any of those, because there's no stupid sexual jokes as much as, the other films that he wrote. It's a lot better. It's very emotional, especially at the end. Eric Warren Singer wrote it as well. And Christopher McQuarrie, yes. A guy that's going to follow Tom Cruise until the end of his career, because he's done the past two Mission Impossible movies with Tom Cruise. Jack Reacher, the first one, and also the Mummy, but that was easily his worst. And it stars Tom Cruise, of course. Val Kilmer's in a cameo, and they're the only two actors from the original. You also have Miles Teller, Jennifer Connelly, John Hamm, Glenn Powell, the best role he's ever done, Lewis Pullman, and Ed Harris. Top Gun Maverick. Yeah, screw Avatar Age. What was it called? Age of Water or Way of the Water. This is an epic sequel. This is what a Hollywood sequel should be. Don't copy the original. Don't make it 3 hours long. Make it long enough and tell your story, and don't use a lot of CGI. And there you go. And I cared about these characters mostly. I had some issues with it, but it was not too many. But this is why this is the biggest movie of 2022. It's not over long. It's a little bit slow in the beginning. I'll get to that. But the movie is epic. These flying sequences are amazing. I should have seen this in the theater. It's just that I was sick with COVID, so when it came out that weekend, I couldn't go see it. But if they re-release this, I want to see this in the theater. Some people said it's better than the first one. Well, I definitely could say that. I can vouch for that. This is one of the best sequels of the entire decade. Because I wasn't disappointed. I'm like, it's not going to live up to the hype. It's going to be another Mad Max Fury Road. No, it's lived up to the hype. In this film, Maverick confronts his past while training a group of younger Top Gun graduates. But I do like most of the younger cast. You have Daniel Ramirez as the Spanish guy. You have what's her name, Barbario or whatever. I'll get to that. I'll get to the cast. You have Monica Barbaro as Lieutenant Natasha Phoenix Trace. They all have code names. You have Bob, Lewis Pullman. He was pretty funny. And there's some humor in this movie, so it's not deadly serious the whole time. Like Black Panther Wakanda Forever, mostly. You have Miles Teller as Lieutenant Bradley Rooster Bradshaw, who's basically like, he's kind of an antagonist, and then he becomes like an ally, like an anti-hero. Because, Miles Teller is good at that. You have John Hamm is Vice Admiral Bo Cyclone Simpson. He's good. He's really commanding. Powell is Hangman. This is the best role he's done, because I hated him in Expendables 3. And also, I didn't like him in Scream Queens. But here, he's not playing a jackass. He actually is a well-made character. And he has this heroic moment at the end. I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen it. There's some people that haven't. Ed Harris is always good to see him. He worked with James Cameron. When James Cameron was good, when he did The Abyss. Charles Parnell is Warlock. I'll just say that. Danny Ramirez, yes, he's Lieutenant Mickey Fanboy Garcia. And then you have Coyote. There's an interracial cast, but it's not shoved in your face. They're background characters. They serve their purpose. They're there to fly and kick some ass in the Navy and fly and defeat the enemy targets. That's it. They don't need to be the deepest characters of all. They have personalities behind the freaking helmets and the masks that they wear in the cockpit of their jet fighters. The only other actors are in stock footage. You have Meg Ryan, Anthony Edwards, and Aaron and Adam Weiss. appears in archive footage from the first movie along with Kelly McGillis because Kelly McGillis refused to come back. Instead, we got Jennifer Connelly. Gorgeous as always, good actress, really good. You know, she's not as emotional here as in other movies, but she's good, guys. You know, I mean, her voice is so soothing, and those cat-like eyes that she has are just beautiful. It was good to see Val Kilmer in this movie too. Half of his dialogue was just typed on a computer, and then he says, "We need a Maverick. These youngsters need a Maverick," and he delivers a good performance. It's really his voice. He's not dubbed over like in The Snowman. And him and Cruz have a huge emotional moment at the end, you know, in the first half of the movie. There are problems, though. The movie is a little bit slow. The first hour is slow. Like, the movie, it starts as a really good opening. I love the music in the movie. It's fantastic. It deserves an Oscar nomination for that. It's a gorgeously shot movie because Krasinski knows how to direct. I love Tron Legacy. There's a nod to it when they're on a motorcycle. That's the ending of Tron Legacy when Olivia Wilde and Sam, what's his name? Garrett Hedlund. They get on the motorcycle and ride off into the sunset. They have a scene like that. The romance is also a little bit undercooked. I don't think it's terrible. It's not Twilight. It's not 50 Shades. It's not 365. But it's a little undercooked. Like, I like them as a budding romance, but they're not in love. They're just like, we like each other. That's about it. Because they share like one kiss. Because this was made during COVID. That's why it got delayed so much. But it was freaking worth it. It was worth it. Jennifer Connelly's daughter. Yeah, she plays Penelope Penny Benjamin. Yeah, she is a love interest, but she's not like, it's enough love without being forced on your face. Who's her daughter? Yeah, Liliana Ray as Amelia Benjamin. Yeah, and the movie has a lot of quiet moments where people are just staring into the sky. It's quiet. It's not an overly loud movie. There's also one scene I think could have been cut entirely, though. When they go to the bar and they start singing Great Balls of Fire, there is some nostalgia, guys. It references the first movie. Hell, the movie starts with the Danger Zone song, which is freaking kick-ass. I love that song. In the Danger Zone, I will fly to the danger zone. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know the song that well because I've never seen the first movie, but it is a good score. The soundtrack is really good. This movie made so much money. $716 million domestically. $770 million with a grand total of $1.4 billion. The biggest movie of Tom Cruise's career. And it's only the second movie since the pandemic happened to make $1 billion. That being Spider-Man No Way Home and this one. Because Rise of Skywalker came out in 2019, so it doesn't count. It deserved this money. It's not a freaking agenda-filled bullshit like Star Wars was in recent years. It doesn't have feminism. It doesn't have racial relations. It doesn't have any politics. It's not gay. I'm like, thank you. Krasinski, thank you. You learned from the mistakes of these freaking people like Disney, Warner Brothers, Universal, all these people that have to leave. You know what's going to sell movies now? Let's make them gay. Fuck you, okay? We don't need that. You want to put something gay? Put it on Netflix. Don't put it in my kids' movies. Oh, you want to put something gay? The Logo Channel exists. Broadway, that exists. Don't put it in a movie like this. It would have ruined this movie. If they made Miles Teller gay, the movie would have been ruined. I'm like, oh great, he's gonna play a overly flaming guy in the sky. And the first movie had homoeroticism where they're playing a volleyball outside, shirtless. This scene in the second one, they just play football. That's it. But it didn't need that. It was distracting. It was in everything this year. Every Marvel movie and half of the Marvel shows had something gay in it. Why? Because reasons. You don't have to put inclusion here. They had enough minorities in this movie and not to shove it up your ass. They have a Hispanic, they have a woman, they got black people, and that's it. You don't need, let's put a Middle Eastern person in there. Let's put something about somebody without legs. Let's put a person that's deaf. No, they didn't do the Eternals route. It did it well. And this movie looks fantastic. The flying sequences, the action, breathtaking. Yes, breathtaking. I said it. Cruise is still freaking awesome. Even at 60 years old, the man can still act. Affiliations aside, the man can act. And a Rotten Tomatoes score, yeah, it deserves it. 96%. I enjoyed this more than Black Panther 2 because it was shorter. I wasn't crying all the time. and the lead is still alive and on screen. And even though it's missing a lot of the actors from the first movie, it still manages to be a kick-ass sequel that's better. Top Gun Maverick, and I thought this movie was going to flop because when I saw the trailer like a year ago, I said, oh great, this movie's going to come out in December, it's going to bomb. It got pushed to 2022 and it made a shit ton of money. They didn't take the easy way out and put it on streaming. Top Gun Maverick pulls off a feat that even trickier than a 4G inverted dive, delivering a long-belated sequel that surpasses its predecessor in wildly entertaining style. Yes, it does. I haven't seen the original, but I've seen clips. I'm interested in seeing it now. I highly recommend this movie. If you've never seen this film, guys, what are you waiting for? If you can't see it in the theater, it's like barely in theaters now, but when it's on streaming, watch it. That's how I watched it. Breathtaking, man. That ending is so freaking emotional. I'm like, yeah, it was like, it didn't make me cry because I don't have a connection to the first film, but if I did, I would have been on the floor. Because it's got a lot of depth to it. It's not just some silly action movie with, explosions and gunfire on, on the planes, because there's no, Tom Cruise doesn't use a gun here. Or he doesn't jump off of tall buildings, because that's Mission Impossible. I still prefer the Mission Impossible movies, except for 2. But that's only because I watched those movies throughout my life. And, the first movie was when he was really young. And Fallout is still one of the best sequels. This and Fallout are like almost on par. This is more like Rogue Nation than Fallout. But good God, it was freaking worth it. It was not a disappointment. It didn't have to have agendas. When a movie doesn't have strings attached, it will make money. If it's not an art film that's weird, it will make money. If you give it to the right audience, it will make money, Disney. Yeah, it will make money. You know why Strange World is failing? Because you had to pull the trigger again. This movie didn't have to do that. It easily could have made one of the flying, pilots gay, and they didn't do it. They did not pull the trigger. They said, no, we're putting the gun down. We're not going to risk spoiling a good film, a great film, with freaking gay agendas that are not needed. And this movie deserves all the praise it got. Like I said, trim the first hour and, like the bar scene where they throw him out. That wasn't necessary. That was stupid. They did that in Beauty and the Beast. The original and the remake. Not needed. You don't need that. That was just dumb. Just cut that out, and the romance could have been either more in the film or just don't put it. They could be budding friends, and that'd be fine. But it worked. It freaking worked. If they do a third one, I would like that, but you don't have to reference the first 2 films. Just end it on a high note, because Mission Impossible will do that soon, and in about 2 years. We got Dead Reckoning Part 1 next year and Dead Reckoning Part 2. I know Josh is very concerned because of the delays and because of Rebecca Ferguson. I'm seeing that for Cruise. He's the reason those movies have worked. He's the reason this works. He's the reason the Reacher movies work. He's the reason it was a freaking success. If they had recast him with some dumbass actor like Sam Worthington or Lee Hemsworth, this would have bombed just like Independence Day 2. And take notes, James Cameron. This is how you make an epic sequel. You haven't made an epic sequel since Terminator 2. Over 30 years ago. You made 2 epic sequels. Aliens and Terminator 2. Avatar is not going to even touch this movie. That looks like a freaking video game. This does not. This looks like they really did this flying, most of it. There's some CG when they're doing wide turns, but it doesn't look like a cartoon. It looks real. It doesn't look fake. And this movie definitely did not disappoint me. And it delivered. The acting is so freaking good. I was like, oh, wow, a well-acted movie that's not 3 hours long. Oh, somebody pinched me. I must be dreaming. They finally did it. Because all these Star Wars movies, Avatar sequels, freaking that are going to come out, and Babylon, which is coming out, they're 3 hours long. What are you going to tell us that we didn't see before? A long running time doesn't make your movie epic. A good story does. This movie and that freaking movie behind me. Endgame. Yeah, I know you can barely see it because this room's so dark, but Endgame is, yeah. That movie was 3 hours with the end credits, but it was worth it. I was invested the entire time, and I didn't get up to go to the bathroom once. And the movie was freaking amazing. And this was too. And at 2 hours and 5 minutes, it goes by way quicker in the second half. It just picks up steam, and it doesn't slow down. And it just the third act is a freaking blast. Watch this, please watch this. I recommend this. It's my favorite movie of the year. I did not expect it to be as good as it was, but it delivered. It did. This is at least the top 5 of the year. It's number 1. This and other movies I'll do next week for my best movies and best, worst, and honorable mentions of 2022. This delivered, man. This was freaking awesome. Thanks for this movie, Kosinski. Thank you, Tom Cruise. Thank you, Macquarie, for writing it. Thank you, Aaron Kruger, for writing something good this time and not a 3-hour Transformers sequel. This was amazing. And Paramount, you should be proud. You didn't take Disney's route. Your plus meant we're going to add good things to our streaming service, not garbage. Thank you for that. Thank you for not being pussies. Thank you. Anyway, that's my review of freaking Top Gun Maverick. This movie kicks ass. So much ass. If Sony had done this better, if they did Morbius better, it would have been more like this and less in Flopland with Strange World and freaking Lightyear and all these other movies that they tried to pander, and it didn't work. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See Top Gun Maverick. I want to buy this movie, but I'm going to wait till it's cheaper. It's freaking awesome. It delivered. It is one of the best sequels in the past 10, 20 years. That's not something overly long, but it's freaking awesome. I had the need for speed, and I went for it. Thanks for watching. Take care, and see ya.